they are. It looks like the main decks are actually identical. So this is a straight mirror between the two players.
Entirely possible that Noah is just playing Owen's list. Is this?
The board has,
There's some
cosmetic differences.
Yes, yes.
So no, this is going to come down to draws and plays. See Owen on the right here.
It's one of those matchups that's so grindy. I imagine that it might even be better to have the draw. Just having that extra card, all these 2/3s bouncing off each other.
Players going to start by trading some Evolving Wilds. You see Strasler just fetching right away, knowing that this match can take a while. I don't think he has to, if he's a rally player, he doesn't have to guess twice as to what Owen's on.
Right. Noah's playing the promo Evolving Wilds. You see that authenticator stamp, so you know it's real.
Forest was the fetch here for Strasler. Draws a Flooded Strand. It will be Elvish Visionary. Looks like he'll fetch for, well, we'll see which basic. Plains or Island.
I was going to say best possible turn 2, but that would, of course, be Jace.
Yeah, Owen will go ahead and get an Island. Now, all right, so game 1, before players can counter-rally the Ancestors, I feel like perhaps we're trying to be the person to combo faster.
Yeah, you want to be able to draw more cards with your Visionaries, with your Jaces, see more cards with your Catacomb Sifters, things like that. Also draw with Horror Specs and just go over the top in the combo. The Rally the Ancestors is the best way to do that.
All right, well, Owen will play his own 2-drop. His is Jace. You mentioned that one's so important.
Yep, Owen raising. Elvish Visionary draws 1 card. Jace not only draws cards, but also sets up your graveyard for those rally turns.
A fetch for Strasler of Polluted Delta.
Very important card in the mirror, of course, Collected Company, and access to Jace allows you to cast every copy you draw twice.
That sounds good, to be sure. It's going to be a Sidisi's Faithful for Strasler. He will use it to exploit itself to return the Jace to Owen's hand and swing for 1.
Yeah, and the 1 point of damage there was not the big draw. You just want to keep Owen off of access to that Jace if at all possible.
Yeah, and putting Sidisi's Faithful in the graveyard doesn't seem too bad here.
Right.
So it will get Owen's turn. He will recast the Jace and pass the turn. Now, this is the part where it's interesting to me. He had options of cards like Catacomb Sifter, Nantuko Husk, and Elvish Visionary, but goes for Jace again.
Yeah, and these early beatdowns are really just not going to be what matters. It's going to be that card filtering. It's going to be that ability to go over the top.
A 4th land for Noah and a pass. Now, that is no pass. Pretty common knowledge what's setting up here. It's going to be a Collected Company at some point during Owen's turn.
Oh yeah, there's just no way it's not. It won't be a rally just for Sidisi's Faithful, I can tell you that much.
Now, I have a question for you here. Is it possible that Noah wants to main phase that Collected Company in case there's a Reflector Mage in it?
Yeah, you would turn Owen off of looting on that turn. And Owen doesn't have any creatures that are going to attack into your Collected Company creatures. You're not going to get him in combat.
You're not really getting anything by end-stepping it, I don't think.
Right. There's also a non-zero possibility that Owen decided to main deck a Dispel. He does say that this is the best deck by a lot, so you are kind of playing into that as well.
Well, Owen will get to untap here. You see he fetches to 4 lands of his own. And now Jace will loot. So that was the price that Owen gets to loot with the Jace. He finds a Visionary. And now we'll see Owen start to stock his own graveyard full of cards. We see Sifter, Reflector Mage, 2 Visionaries. Looks like Grim Horror Specs.
Not the best board for a Reflector Mage at this point in time, though. It is a pretty loaded hand, though.
Horror Specs, Owen, in case you're running on your counts, he's down to a 1 of here. And Owen will discard it, so seems like he's not planning to do a lot of onboard trading then.
No, he's just interested in setting up that big turn.
Yeah, we'll play Nantuko Husk. And a pass. Now here's going to be that Collected Company from Noah.
Yeah, and Owen with that Husk in play, that's the one that you want to have at the beginning of your turn. You don't want to rally it back. That enables you to attack, maybe find lines with your Faithfuls and your Reflector Mages to actually just connect for lethal in combat.
So you bounce all their blockers, you rally your Ancestors, you bounce them again, you sack everything to the Husk, and then you swing.
Yeah, attack for about 40. Should close the game out.
Here's Collected Company from Strasler. It does find a Reflector Mage with a Planeswalker. We'll catch which one it is. I believe you actually know Liliana, so it's just Jace.
Very good hit. But yeah, the Reflector Mage would have taken Owen off of that loot if it was main phase.
Yeah, I think some missed value there on Noah's side. I mean, it means he can bounce the Nantuko Husk, but he went for the Jace anyway, and Owen will actually just sack it to the Husk.
Right, and that's even a lot worse than the Jace being in hand and uncastable.
Sure.
Now it can rally, you wait a turn, just for one of those value rallies, on your upkeep in response to the Exile trigger, you activate Jace, and now you have a Planeswalker.
Well, it's one of the things I actually see a lot of times, I think, that can be a trap when learning a new deck, is that Collected Company is an instant, so you feel like you want to play at instant speed. I don't see enough players just jamming it during their first main.
Right, kind of an autopilot thing.
Well, nonetheless, though, it's a good board for Noah. He got that Jace on the end step. He now loots and flips it into a Planeswalker. Here's an attack with Reflector Mage, and everything seems to be going Noah's way. Can play another Collected Company if he cares to.
Noah is ahead on board. The ability to flashback Company is big, and it's going to matter what he hits because his hand is full of lands yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have much going on. On the other side, Owen's hand is excellent. It's all creatures. A lot of different elements here.
There is a Cutthroat in Noah's hand. That's a good one to have.
All right, Company from Noah. Looks like he has found 2 rallies. Well, that's no good. Sidisi's Faithful, Nantuko, Husk, and Jace are what he gets to pick out of. He'll pick Nantuko Husk, and looks like Sidisi's Faithful. Faithful will exploit itself to bounce Nantuko Husk. We'll see if it goes to hand or graveyard. Owen can pick here. He'll put it in the graveyard.
Could have gotten an extra point of damage in by doing that earlier in the turn, though not a huge margin.
Yeah, if he'd bounced it, then the Visionary could have attacked.
Right.
Now, each time here, we've seen twice, Noah has tried to unsummon or put Owen's creatures into Owen's hand, and each time, Owen just sacrificed the creature to the Husk.
Yep, and at this point in time, Owen has Husk and Haruspex in the graveyard. Only a Jace to supplement them yet, but the ability to bring those both into play at the same time allows you to draw a ton of extra cards.
A fetch for Canopy Vista from Owen. His mana now perfect. He has all 4 colors, double white. And he'll just keep developing. Here's Elvish Visionary. Draws a Jace. And so despite the fact that Owen's board is so much worse, I just feel like he is successfully stalking the graveyard.
Right, and Owen, of course, will be happy to chump block that Nantuko Husk on coming turns. Get the Elvish Visionary in the graveyard. When you rally it back, it'll draw a card. When you sacrifice it to the Husk, it'll draw another card off the Haruspex.
And Reflector Mage from Owen.
The Husk, the only really reasonable target here. Not surprising to see that one getting bounced with the enter the battlefield abilities on the other 2 creatures.
So difference here, Noah did not sacrifice the Husk. He actually let it get bounced. Now that's because maybe he doesn't have a rally. He's already put 2 on the bottom with Collected Company. That change, does that change the calculus here?
Yeah, and Noah's graveyard's also a lot less stocked at this point in time. You know, Owen has that Haruspex and Noah just doesn't. So I think that Noah might just be committing to winning this game on the board and maybe getting value to close the game out in that way. Also, Noah does have that Zulaport Cutthroat in hand yet, so he can just combine that the old-fashioned way with the Husk on future turns and just close the game out like that.
Yeah, and that certainly will help. Here we see the 2 Catacomb Sifters, so 4 creatures for Strasler. Yeah, you're right. If he does get a Husk into play, there's a lot of food for that guy.
Right, and not being able to cast Husk on this turn, no problem. Plenty of things to do with his mana.
That said, there's still the risk that he gets comboed out here.
Right. Owen is still off of the Cutthroat, and the Husk is no longer in play, so it wouldn't be able to happen this turn, though we are getting closer.
Owen this turn plays a Jace and a Catacomb Sifter. So now, and this is kind of what I expect to see in Rally Mirrors. We see 6 creatures on Noah's side to 5 on Owen's. Stalled out board. And this is why I was saying maybe the combo really matters.
Right. Notably, if Noah had a 7th land that was a black source, he would have access to Husk, Cutthroat, Cutthroat, which is actually just lethal on this board. I don't believe that's the full contents of his hand. And it looks like he doesn't have that 3rd black source either, though he's very close to winning this game the honest way.
Okay, yeah, when you look at it, so putting it together, you're right, Owen at 14. Noah's creatures are significantly bigger here. And now you look at this Cutthroat. Owen knows about the Cutthroat. He knows about the Husk in hand. I mean, this is you.
Yeah.
This, you know, wait, hold on.
Apt. You is right. Noah does have 2 black cards in hand. We know one is the Husk. It's unclear what the other one is.
All right, so Owen's got to watch out because he knows that post-combat, Noah can sack the team. He can sack for 7, right? Mm-hmm. For 7 points damage. So Owen's got to stay high enough on life for that. Now also, so here's the 3 swings. Owen's going to put 2 3s in front of 2 3s, Visionary in front of Sifter. Okay, Phage is an 0-2, still a good blocker.
And I did just get a glimpse of Noah's hands. It is just 2 Husks, so that Black Source wouldn't have been lethal this turn with that exact spell.
All right, so here's a Husk. That's going to have to be chump blocked every turn. We see from Owen's side, drew a copy of Eiley, the Eternal Pilgrim. He has Visionary, Sifter, Reflector Mage.
So if Owen doesn't Reflector Mage the Husk or the Cutthroat, he may just find himself dead on board next turn.
Yeah, well, Reflector Maging the it seems like it has to be the Cutthroat, right? So if he Reflector Mages the Husk, Noah can sack the Husk to itself, play another Husk, and I guess things are fine. No, Owen doesn't know that Noah has a second Husk.
Right, that's true. If you sacrifice the Husk, you would have the ability to play the other one that we do know is in his hand next turn.
Which Owen doesn't know. He's going to loot with Jace, discards an Elvish Visionary. But if he gets the Cutthroat, Noah can't, I mean, he either can let it bounce or he can sack it, but both ways the combo kills off the table.
It remains to be seen if Noah would sacrifice the Cutthroat in response. We did see him just pick up the Husk on an earlier turn.
Yeah, well, I'm not even sure he's supposed to sacrifice it in response. I mean, sure it would be 2 turns away, but it would certainly, it might be lethal 2 turns away.
Right, and that was before he drew the second copy as well.
So now Owen has a Planeswalker in Jace, but Owen with no instants or sorceries in the graveyard. I guess neither does Noah at this point, to be fair.
Right.
Flipped Jace. It's so interesting, this matchup. When there's companies going on, it's so important. Without company, I mean, on this board, I don't think either player really cares that the other one has a Planeswalker.
Right. The bubble effect not really going to matter when there's this many creatures.
Here's Reflector Mage. 2 Scries from Strasler. Yeah, this is it looks like it's bouncing the Husk is what Owen shows. And Strasler, in response to this bounce, he's going to go ahead and do a lot of scrying.
Yeah, the sacrifice ability with these double sifters, he's just going for a rally.
Now, is this necessary here to lose his team for these scries? I mean, because he has a second Husk in hand, he could just sack Husk and play another.
Well, what we were talking about earlier was 2 Cutthroats were lethal on this board. It's also true that sacrificing that same board twice is also lethal.
Okay, yeah, that is true. All he needs to find is a rally. So now he will sacrifice the Husk, scrying to the bottom 2 more times. Yeah, he's really just setting up for the combo kill. And much to Owen's dismay, Noah has kept a card on top. The bar for the things you keep on top has got to be pretty high.
Well, with the Husk sacrificed, I suppose the Scions are still an avenue to sacrifice and scry at this point, though that was the last card that he got to see just off of the Husk itself.
All right, so Eiley's the last play for Owen. A Sifter's now an 0-3. Here's our for Noah. What did he keep on top? It looks like a white card. I think we might see some Ancestors.
Yeah, I have a feeling that would have to be the play here.
Owen's tapped out.
Just doing some math, making sure that he has assessed this correctly.
So he has 7 lands in play. So he can rally for 2, and he can play Husk and rally for 2, which may be lethal right now. Or he can, oh no, much better. He can play Husk and rally for 3. The Scions make money. He has Scions. So that's got to just be lethal. Just sack your board. Rally for 3 off your Scions, sack your board again. I would be shocked if that was not 11 damage.
Right, there's 5 creatures in play already. This puts him up to 6.
So we'll walk you through it. Here's the Nantuko Husk for Noah Strasler. Owen is at 11. Owen's tapped out, so Strasler just gets to play his line out here. What does Owen do in response? He's going to sack a Scion to Scry. I don't know if it's in response to the Husk. I don't think this particularly matters at the moment.
The Eiley does gain Owen a little bit of life this turn. So that does mess with that combo math.
Okay, so that's what Owen did. He actually sacked the Scion for mana and the Reflector Mage for life, putting himself to 14. And now Noah is sacrificing cards. So we have some Scions. We have two Catacomb Sifters, so that should be a drain of 4. Let's make it a drain of 5 off the Cutthroat. Owen should be down to 9. Here's Rally the Ancestors for X equals 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures, 8 creatures. As long as Noah makes 2 Scions, that's going to be lethal. And it goes straight for the Scions. Owen's going to look at them. And game 1 in the books for Noah Strasler.
Impressive stuff. It looked like Noah was playing on the board, though he had a draw that ultimately lined up with those scries from the Sifters. He was able to just go from winning on the board to comboing very easily. And that's really the power of this deck.
Well, we talked about it beforehand that we were looking to be that player who can rally first will get game 1, or not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's the namesake card of the deck for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I mean, and to be fair, Noah was a player with the Collected Company. He flashed it back. That advantage mattered. I actually felt after the second company like Owen might be winning the game.
To give Noah some credit, he did manage the Jace advantage very well. We saw him aggressively bouncing Owen's Jace. He did wait a turn on that Collected Company, which gave Owen a loot, though ultimately Noah was the one that got the Jace Planeswalker first.
Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and go over look at the sideboard plans for both players. I'm going to start, I mean, we can kind of do these ones at the same time. They are almost the same strategy. So let's start with Owen Turtenwald's sideboard. We have 3 Murderous Cuts, 3 Dispels, 2 Minister of Pains, 2 Erishan Clerics, a pair of Duresses, and then the split between Executioner and Marauder, and lastly, a Despise.
Yep, you want Dispel to manage the Collected Companies and the Rally of the Ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Murderous Cut, one of the reasons it's there is to deal with Kalidas and Anafenza, and you don't know if your Rally opponent has those cards or not. So you want to look at some number of those cards. Noah does not have access to them, but we might see both players hedge in the direction of Murderous Cut.
So in the dark, let's say your opponent might, I mean, I think sometimes we see Rally decks playing, I suppose, up to 3 Anafenzas, probably not, but we'll see, 0 to 3. When he does have 3, can it be managed with just Reflector Mages and Sidisi's Faithfuls, or do you need Murderous Cut?
I think that, when that card is the reason that you're playing Murderous Cut, we are bringing them in. You can manage them with Reflector Mage. So if you're not correct, if you incorrectly leave your cuts on the sideboard and they have Anafenza, you can still win the game with Reflector Mage. So the Murderous Cut just increases your percentages significantly.
All right, now last one, there's, and we see this sometimes, especially in the Eric Hawkins and Matthew Tickle build of the deck, a copy of Abzan Ascendancy in Noah's sideboard. Is that good here?
Yeah, it busts the mirror open. Flying creatures are very good against Rally. That's the entire reason that people started playing the Red-Black Dragons deck. So making those flying spirits is a way to just close the game on the board.
All right, so we think we might see that one come in as well.
I imagine we will.
All right, it'll be interesting. An extra Dispel and an Abzan Ascendancy for Strasler. You have to think he's got a little extra juice for the mirror here.
Yeah. Yeah, and he is up a game as well, so could definitely see this going Noah's way.
Against Owen Turtenwald, I wouldn't mind having a couple extra cards for the matchup.
Right.
Let's not play fair. Let's try to get what edge we can get.
Oh yeah, you're always pumping the fist when you lead on a matchup that you know is favorable against what Owen is playing.
All right. Well, Season 1 comes to an end here. We have this and the next open. You're going to want to make sure to go out and get one of the Kitchen Lynx playmats. We've been giving that away all of Season 1, and it is the adorable, just great version of Kitchen Finks here. You could have some oofs making a mess. You could have some kittens just playing around in the kitchen. Anyway, you can get this on a playmat with entry to any Season 1 opens. That's given out. We start in Las Vegas, but the last event you can get it, which is the next open. So make your way out to Baltimore. That's on April 9th. And is only given out to open participants. So this is your last chance. You should go out and do it.
Got to play to get it. I think that you're overselling how cute the kittens are. The knife in the mouth and the one in the back right is
it a knife?
Slightly threatening.
It's like it's a ladle, isn't it? She's washing a ladle.
Other side there.
Oh, that one does have a knife.
The one with the ladle is...
They don't know. They don't know. You know, cats, they just play with things.
The thing about playing with a knife is you don't have to know that it's dangerous to cut yourself.
Well, she's biting the other end. She's biting the blunt end. It's cute.
Exactly, and that means that the blade is facing me.
Okay. I mean, I think when your cat plays, you just take the knife from the cat and you're like, no, and you just.
So what I'm hearing is that you're a cat person that will defend cats to no end,
yes.
even when they're wielding dangerous weapons.
Well, that wielding is really a subjective way of putting it, and that they're playing with them.
I'll admit my own personal bias.
All right, well, we are back to the match. Game 2. These are the post-board games between Owen Turtenwald and Noah Strasler. Interestingly, so we talked about how the sideboard is around 5 cards for the matchup, but it really does change the texture of the games.
Yep, definitely. Game 1 was all about creatures and finding the spells that make more creatures. Now we have some interaction on the stack. Changes the way you can manage your mana, changes the way you have to play on the board.
Looks like Owen was on a mulligan. He'll scry to the bottom to start here. And Noah deciding his mulligan. Yeah, we have a 6-on-6 here. Keeping it fair. Owen starts out on Swamp. He does have that Jace. I don't know if he has another land. He does now, though. Polluted Delta was the draw. Here's Jace.
Just the way we drew it up. Though this is a 4-color deck, that Jace is going to need to help out in finding the more lands.
Noah at the ready. It's Sidisi's Faithful. Will exploit itself and bounce Jace into Owen's hand. Now, I guess he just has to make that play. I liked that he did it game 1. Now here, Owen may not have another thing to do on turn 3. How good, though. He draws Evolving Wilds for the turn. No one's going to he'll come back and watch this match and be like, wait, Owen didn't have any lands? You're like, yeah, he didn't.
You don't get to be the #1 player ranked in the world without getting lucky a lot of the time.
You just start keeping hands assuming you're going to get lucky. You just know.
This usually works out for me.
Noah, pair of dual lands. He has blue-black and blue-white. He'll play a Jace of his own, but no third land past the turn.
Noah, of course, not the #1 ranked player in the world, so he can't count on those breaks.
He keeps 2 landers and sticks on 2. Owen keeps 1 landers on the play and gets to 3. There's just no justice.
Yeah, Owen probably scried better than Noah did. That has to be it.
I believe he scried to the bottom.
There you go.
Noah kept on top.
Yeah, there you go.
4th land for Owen. Wow, just great. Now, to be fair, this one cannot get green for him. It is a polluted Delta.
That certainly will matter. One of the best cards in the matchup, of course, is Collected Company, and there's an Elvish Visionary in hand at least, and there are just more green spells in the deck, like Catacomb Sifter.
Yeah, no one's going to discard it for that very reason. He'll play the polluted Delta, play Nantuko Husk, pass back. Now, on a mulliganed game like this, the beats that Nantuko Husk can bring could add up.
Yeah, if your opponent's not getting to 3 mana, they can't Reflector Mage it, they can't put a Sifter in the way and make that Scion token to block.
Draw for Strasler was a Windswept Heath. Now, that was just on time. You see he'll loot, he'll draw a 2nd copy of Reflector Mage.
That Husk is looking a lot less good now.
You think it might get reflected?
I think that the odds are high.
Well, do you reflect the Husk or the Jace?
Probably the Jace, actually.
It's just, I mean, we saw game 1, it was always the Jace.
Yeah, what is he going to do? Play the Jace and sacrifice it to the Husk to break through your Reflector Mage? That's probably a pretty good exchange for you.
So here's the sacrifice of Windswept Heath. Imagine we just get basic Forest.
Yeah, you're off green. You want the mana this turn.
Noah definitely has the mana advantage. Almost perfect. He doesn't have the double white yet, but everything else is going his way.
Yeah, that is the one thing. You want that 2nd white mana, but you need another land, at least probably 2 lands before you care about double white anyway.
All right, so Mage, what will you be reflecting? Which of these 2 gentlemen will make a trip, I guess, either to the graveyard or to Owen's hand? 2, 3, and it'll be Jace. Some wizard on wizard combat here.
Owen has a rally in his hand. He could be thinking about just rallying to get Jace back and making it a Planeswalker, though without a Collected Company that doesn't do very much.
Yeah, this is the decision for Owen. He'll put it in his hand. That certainly speaks to a slower game.
Right.
Would you say it's fair that post-board we see that kind of play more often? Less sacrificing, more value playing?
Yeah, and it's also just true that with the dispels coming in, that you're just less able to know to a certainty what your next turn is going to look like.
Sure. And then Nantuko Husk for Owen. No fifth land. How unlucky.
You got to miss eventually.
For Noah, he hits his fourth land. Now he has Collected Company.
That's huge.
That's huge. Now Owen is representing Dispel. Keep in mind, last turn Owen could have fetched with that Polluted Delta, but decided not to. He has basics in place, so Noah will have to play around everything. For Noah, it's going to be a Jace activation, discarding a copy of Zulaport Cutthroat, flipping Jace into a Planeswalker.
Strong start. And Noah, it looks like he does have his own copy of Dispel, so you might just want to wait until you can company with your own Dispel backup.
That seems pretty safe. And I like the sequencing here from Noah. He's going to play Reflector Mage to bounce an Nantuko Husk. Now, note here, he opted to Reflector Mage before upticking the Jace, and that's a really heads-up way to do this.
Yeah, definitely. You want to see what happens with that other Husk in play. You know, if there's a sacrifice going on, see exactly what we want to do with our Planeswalker.
We'll make sure that the Jace Plus is on the correct creature now.
Right, and if you leave Owen with just the one Husk in play, suddenly sacrificing it to itself is not much of anything.
Good. So Noah, Husk turns into a 4/4, down to a 2/4, passes the turn back to Owen. Now Owen has a 0/2. He does have a Rally the Ancestors in hand. That doesn't do much. Drew a Windswept Teeth. So now he should have his mana should be perfect. He should have double white, green,
Yep.
just everything.
Last turn he drew a replacement Elvish Visionary, which was awkward up until now. Now it's actually great.
So, 2 fetches from Owen. He gets Sunken Hollow, Canopy Vista. So double white, double green, double black, double blue, 2 basics, just everything. That means he can stop drawing lands.
Yeah.
And it's going to be deploying the team. Here's an Elvish Visionary. Draws into Collected Company, not bad. And here's a Jace. He'll pass. Remaining hand for Owen is a Rally, a Collected Company, and a Zulaport Cutthroat.
Yeah, if Noah can draw a land here and is able to cast Collected Company and leave up Dispel, we could see this game snowball very well in his favor. Though, without that land, he's choosing between Dispel and Company, and Owen will soon have his own Jace Planeswalker to cast the Company a second time.
And just notice how fluidly here Owen made that play and left up the blue for Dispel, even though he doesn't have it. It's little things like that, you know, you have to think is going through Noah's mind. Now, fortunately for Noah, he just has it covered on all bases.
Right. Owen is never going to miss representing the Dispel, and the onus is now on Noah to determine whether he should play into it or not.
Yeah, with a Dispel in Noah's hand, I imagine he will. He's got him.
Yeah, Collected Company is just too good here not to cast. And, you know, this way, when Owen doesn't have the Dispel here, you have resolved Company, and you still have an answer to the best possible line that Owen has on the following turn.
So Flooded Strand finds Island, then Windswept Heath finds Canopy Vista. Everything's untapped. Good on Noah. His mana's perfect now as well. I guess, yeah, he does not have Liliana in his list. I was going to say he has single black, but... yes, can also cast everything. So here's 4 mana. Here's Collected Company from Noah. Yeah, Owen's not going to counter. He doesn't have it. Lands, Reflector Mage. And on the last card, he finds a second creature. So it is the Visionary and the Mage. Noah will draw a card, bounce a creature. I think Jace is going back to the hand again.
Yeah, there's just no way you target anything else here. Now, Owen has to think about sacrificing it or not. He does have that Rally, and we're getting to the point where the value Rally is actually getting more enticing all the time.
Yeah, now, there is a little bit of some play here. Noah didn't collect a company last turn, and now he's collected a company with Blue Up. If you're in Owen's seat, the odds that you believe your opponent has Dispel in hand just keep going up.
We did see Noah miss a land drop earlier in the game as well.
And not collect a company?
We knew, we can assume strongly that the draw was the land and not the company.
Right. Jace pluses on Husk. So Owen no profitable blocks. He'll go down to 13. The Jace was put into Owen's hand, so he's definitely on the back foot at the moment. So you think maybe Owen tries to bait with a Collected Company, as bad as that sounds?
I think that Owen just has to find out which of the spells is actually the bait spell. Is the Rally the bait, or is the Company the bait?
Well, he's got to do it quick. Starting next turn, Noah's going to flash back his own Collected Company with Jace.
Yeah, that's a huge swing as well.
And I think Noah, off that Visionary, drew another Collected Company. So there's a lot of creatures coming out every turn.
That was a very good draw.
Yeah. It's just Owen will fetch for that forest and pass. Draw is Zulaport Cutthroat for Noah. This is getting to be dangerous territory for Owen. It's 2 Cutthroats in Noah's hand, along with another company.
And given
I'm worried.
Given that Owen didn't cast the company on Noah's upkeep, it's fairly clear that Owen is playing around he is putting Noah on having that Dispel.
Yeah. He's not playing on upkeep because he thinks Noah already has it. There's no reason to play around.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you draw a Dispel, you already have it.
We'll see whether Noah wants to play company out of hand or out of yard.
The Jace being on a ton of loyalty doesn't matter. I can't imagine this game going down to an emblem.
It seems unlikely, yeah, and I think Noah's coming to the same conclusion. Here's flashback for the Collected Company. Noah will cast.
This also masks the strength of your hand. Like that a lot.
Company in response from Owen, leaving up a Dispel of his own. This is great, so now Noah has to wonder, if he dispels, will his get dispelled? Well, he'll do it anyway, and the answer is no.
Yeah, you can't just not Dispel because you're afraid to Dispel. No, Owen has enough mana to just leave that up the whole game.
Ooh, 2 Nantuko Husks for Noah Strasler.
He's so far ahead on board that it's hard to imagine. Yeah, Owen's going to have to take a strong sequence over the next couple of turns to realistically get back in this game.
There are 2 Cutthroats in Noah's hand. We're not looking at the next couple turns. We're looking at Owen is dead.
Owen does still have that rally. He can make a reasonable blocking turn, though it's unclear if he can do enough.
Yeah, he'd have to rally for the full 16 now.
Yep.
I don't think he has enough for that. I mean, he doesn't have a Cutthroat yet. It's unlikely. Here come 3 Reflector Mages.
Yeah, Owen is definitely in value rally territory.
Yeah, he blocks 2, sacrifices the Visionary to his Husk, so he eats 1 Reflector Mage, takes 2, goes to 11. We're back to Turtenwald, draws Prairie Stream. All right, Owen. Show us what you can do here. Next turn, he's going to be dead to 2 Cutthroats.
He's drawn 2 more lands since you told him to stop, so I guess his luck did catch up with him. Still has lines.
He did keep a 1-lander on the play here, huh?
Still has lines. He does have access to just casting Jace this turn as well as casting the rally, which I have to imagine would be sometime on Noah's turn. Though, is Noah tapped out if we can pan back out? I believe
Noah is tapped out right now. Remember, he had to Dispel.
Right, so you do have the free window right now.
Well, I think when you're in Owen's spot, what you have to think about is, well, what can you reasonably beat here?
Right.
You know, if Noah's got another Dispel, you probably just can't beat that.
Yeah, because the first rally is not going to win the game anyway. It does draw some extra cards. You can set up a Dispel plus a second rally potentially.
Right, so here's Jace, and then he'll pass. So it looks like he's going to try to rally for 3, block everything, use Haruspex to draw. Oh, no, that was last game. He doesn't have Haruspex. Regardless, there's some Cutthroats happening. Now, only single black from Noah. He can't deploy them both immediately.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that's going well for Noah here. Or for Owen, rather.
Yeah, he's not just dead this turn. He gets a turn.
If Noah is feeling particularly feisty, he can just target the Dispel with the Jace here to force Owen to do it. Looks like that's actually the line that he's taking.
Yeah, I like this a lot. All right, Dispel's going to have flashback. Will Owen respond?
I like that a lot by Noah. This
good
way,
play, yeah.
You don't find yourself in an unfavorable combat that looked really good half a step ago.
That's interesting. Last turn, Owen could have played the Cutthroat, but instead went for Jace. I guess, no, that makes sense. He just needs to get Jace. Yeah, he will rally in response.
Yeah, if Owen survives this turn, what he really wants to be casting next turn is Collected Company. So using that Jace to flip and flash back the copy that's already in his graveyard is his plan, I believe.
So Visionary, Husk, Visionary. Owen draws 2. He draws Husk and land.
So Noah has to choose between casting Company and a Cutthroat, but with this board, the Company looks a lot better.
Yeah, well, I like it because that Evolving Wilds can find another swamp, so next turn he can still play both Cutthroats. And so he's not really losing anything by doing it this way.
Right.
Here is Collected Company while Owen's tapped out. We see Jace, Cutthroat, Visionary. Well, imagine he's going to take a cutthroat. Those cards just... The more the merrier.
There's a lot to think about. You're not going to be able to put Owen in a position where he can't block both husks, so you just want to find the best value line.
I suppose yeah, I mean, if he gets cutthroat in play, then the fact that he has these husks and cutthroat makes him safe.
I do like grabbing Sifter because it makes your sacrifices more profitable.
Sure. Okay, so he has 4 options. Yeah, Sifter, Visionary, Jace, Cutthroat. So you're thinking Sifter, Cutthroat?
Yeah, you don't really need a random card. Like Sifter is one of the cards you're trying to draw anyway.
Noah agrees. Those are the 2 he picks. He'll get 3 creatures into play. He's close to having Owen dead here.
Yeah, you got to think kind of hard about your attacks. Noah doesn't have access to a rally, so creatures dying here, you kind of want to have him in play next turn, just because Owen has a lot of extra blockers right now from his own rally. The husks are, of course, safe attacks, so I like swinging there.
A swing with husk. Owen's going to go ahead and make his husk a 6/6, force some action on Noah. Noah's got a care here. That attack may have been a little careless because, you know, if Noah loses both his husks, then he can't combo. Say Owen drew a Reflector Mage off those Visionaries. A perfectly reasonable thing to have had happen.
Yeah, two cards there and another card for his turn. Access to a Reflector Mage on next turn is a pretty realistic possibility.
Right, and I'm not really sure what Noah's gaining off making this attack other than having to stack a bunch of his own guys.
He does get to scry a bunch, which he kind of wanted to do anyway.
Oh yeah, but he didn't need to attack to have that option.
Right, and you're not really going to trap Owen Turtenwald into making a bad block.
Unlikely.
Maybe he got only a couple hours of sleep on the pull-out bed and skipped his coffee this morning, but if he's anywhere near his prime, he's going to navigate this combat pretty easily.
All right, so Husk swings. It's blocked by another Nantuko Husk, and it looks like Noah's will just die. I don't like that attack. I don't feel like Noah's still in a good spot, but I don't like that he lost a card there.
Yeah, it looks like he made a decision to try to do something proactive, and the only one that was hurt by it was him.
Well, what if Owen bounces this Nantuko Husk now? If Owen draws Reflector Mage for Husk, I'm not convinced we're winning anymore. And especially if we were gonna sacrifice this, he'd see Scion to play a second Cutthroat. If this was the line, this definitely should have happened before the attack.
Absolutely. Putting creatures in the graveyard and then playing a Cutthroat after the fact.
Okay, fair enough. Now Owen's going to sack his own husks that's not exiled. He draws a land. He will Jace, loot, discard, flip Jace. He gets to flip it. And I guess if he wants to find Reflector Mage, this is how it starts. Now, keep in mind, Owen is at 8. There's 2 Cutthroats and a husk in play for Strasler. This is...
Yeah.
Owen's probably still dead.
Owen does have that Collected Company to flash back yet.
It's going to flash back Collected Company. Now, why isn't Noah killing him?
Maybe he's just going to wait and see what happens. I don't know.
Okay, Haruspex and Elvish Visionary for Turtenwald.
It's either Noah doesn't see it or he's playing with his food.
I mean, I guess if he can play a third Cutthroat, and then we can really kill him.
Cover all your bases.
Well, I'm asking legitimately why we're not killing him, though. All right, Owen goes to 7. He fetches for Canopy Vista.
Yeah, Owen was tapped out completely a minute ago.
Oh, yeah, he had a blue-black dual land up. He had 1 mana. Oh, you mean last turn?
Right. There was just nothing that Owen could have done.
Yes, I believe Owen was dead. There's a lot of stuff that goes on the board here. I'm not trying to,
It's a complicated board state, and what I mentioned about Owen earlier is absolutely true. He's dead on board, he's not conceding, and he's certainly an intimidating table presence.
Owen never concedes. If you've watched him before, I have never seen him concede a game. He'll sit out and play the most ridiculous of games.
And it's wild, too, because Noah's playing the same deck. He should absolutely just know that there's nothing that Owen can do.
Drain for 3. Oh, okay, Owen goes to 4.
Anything else? My turn?
My turn.
Can I go?
Scry.
Are you done?
3 more. Okay, Owen will go to 1.
Okay, just let me know when it's my turn.
I don't think you're going to get a turn. I don't think you're going to. And the last sacrifice should do it. 2-0 match for Noah Strasler. Defeats #1 player Owen Turtenwald with his own deck. Impressive run there. He is 2-0 to start the day.
Yeah, had extra dispels, and we saw that he was the player that drew it. And that's really what mattered in that game more than anything else.
Yeah, there was some turns where Owen's collected companies got dispelled and Noah's resolved, and that just mattered so much.
A little bit of a misstep in combat with those husks. That was quite odd. Waiting a turn to kill Owen, less punishing than that attack step,
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, I think by that point, okay, you can say technically, yes, he missed an onboard kill, but the way the game pressed out, he had earned the spot. He had earned his position where he had him dead anyway.
Yeah.